So if you're lying awake at night wondering if you're absolutely mad thinking about moving your family to Spain or buying a property on the Costa del Sol, the job, the language, the property, money, how are you going to survive? So we absolutely understand, because 10 years ago, that was us. Now in the next 20 minutes, we're going to walk you through all of the fears that we had at the start of our big move, from selling our house to Ireland, to handing over the keys, to packing up our suitcases with 2 babies in tow and coming to the Costa del Sol. No sales pitch, just honest, upfront fears from us. We're also going to really home into the things that nobody told us, the advice that we wished that we had. We did it in 2016. We packed up the car, we sold the house in Ireland, 2 babies in tow and a rake of suitcases. Everybody thought we were mad. Everybody was waiting for us to fail. So we know what's going through your head right now. 10 years on, our family feels very lucky to call Spain home. So we're going to take you through our journey from start to finish. The start, the messy middle, today, and everything in between, so that hopefully we can inspire you by our story. Are you ready?
I can't believe it's 10 years. Wow. That's the second time, but what a journey. Yeah, I'm ready.
So one quick thing, this is all I'm going to ask of you today before we jump into the episode. If you're enjoying these episodes, if you're enjoying our videos, please remember to like and subscribe, because this tells the algorithm that you like the content that we're bringing to you, and it helps us to bring you more content just like this for absolutely free. Let's get into it.
Go for it.
So this is going to be an episode from our hearts, really. We're going to take a trip down memory lane. We're going to start with going all the way back to 2016. So Warner, I want to get into your headspace a little bit when we look back to 2016. How were you feeling at that point? The night, let's go to the night before we got on the plane to move to Spain. What stands out for you?
What stands out for me was obviously all the emotions going through my head. I was excited. I was, what are we doing? Kind of eureka moment. Just everything was going through my head, but I was just trying to be positive and strong for you and the kids.
So were you nervous?
I was really nervous. Nervous, but exciting nervous. Not nervous, oh, are we doing the right thing? I knew that we were doing the right thing because we had 5 years in Ireland and the first 2 years were great. But after that, when we started to have Oliver, then Abigail, times started to get really tough, and we just we looked at it together and said, look, there must be more to life. And this wasn't just an immediate reaction. We'd been talking for the last 6 months about we need to find a way out for a better life for our family. So that was...
When you say things became really tough, what are you referring to?
Childcare. We had very good jobs. The mortgage we had was low. There was a low mortgage, but the childcare was just killing us. Like, at the end of the time, we really never had any money to buy pints of milk for the baby. So it was challenging, it was tough, and it was... Look, I always believe that your path in life makes or breaks you. We look at that point, we had a beautiful house, 2 beautiful children, healthy children, good jobs. The problem was that we wanted more for our life.
It just felt like we weren't really living. Cost of living was really a challenge, and there was just no balance to life, I think.
I think going out for us was a Domino's pizza, shared by 4.
For me as a mum, when I had my own career and worked and always went back to work when the kids were quite young, unfortunately, looking back now, it's a massive regret that I went back to work so early on when they were babies, but needs must, and that's what we needed to do. But our kids were the first kids in the nursery in the morning and the last ones to be collected in the evening. And that used to really break my heart. And Oliver really battled with his health. We lived in a valley. The weather was not optimal for a child with severe asthma, eczema. Every week he was sick. Every week there was medical costs. There just really was no quality of life. And we were lucky. We had our own beautiful home. I know some of the challenges today for people my age are They can't get on the property ladder. I hear stories of people still having to live at home with their parents. I know it's tough. We were lucky, but we didn't really have the type of life that we dreamed of. And call us dreamers, I don't know, but we wanted more. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong to wanting better life for your family. And yeah, we could have kept on going and getting through that. And we would have got through it because we're fighting, but we didn't want to.
No.
And that was just a decision that we decided we want our kids to grow up in a lifestyle, open door lifestyle, not particularly Spain, but somewhere. We knew there was somewhere better than
where we were. And if we talk about like how we were feeling, what were the main worries? Because everybody says we were brave. I don't think I felt brave at the time. I think it was, I needed something to change. Something needed to be different.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the worries are employment, because we had good jobs. Where are we going to live? Are the kids going to integrate? There was so many questions, but you just couldn't answer them. You just had to say, it is what it is, and we will take the challenge head on.
And I think we were 10 years younger.
Yeah.
I was 30, you were 38.
38.
And now I'm turning 40 very soon.
Yeah.
And you're 48.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know now. I suppose I see the world a little bit differently. I'm not as brave, but I would still do the same move. But I think maybe there was a naivety about me of maybe not really understanding some of the worries up front, or I could argue that I didn't want to see them because failure wasn't an option. So we just attacked it head on. I don't know. My perspective might.
I think the eureka moment for us, we'd been talking about moving to Spain for about 6 months, and then the eureka moment came when we came over for your 30th birthday party, and we met a couple of friends, and when their children were going to camp, they were going to football camps, they were going to the beach camps, nice and tanned,
Women.
roller skating, and I just looked down at Oliver, this little boy, white as a sheep, sitting at the pool. We couldn't swim, and I just said...
And I think his health challenges had really taken a toll on him. Physically, he looked unwell.
Yeah, he did.
And that was a big thing for us. We wanted an outdoor lifestyle for him. And obviously the healthcare in Spain is a massive draw. It's so good. The education system, fantastic experiences. But I think if we just go back to, we probably didn't talk up front at the time about what you were feeling and what I was feeling. It was like an underlying current that existed between us that we both knew what we were feeling. But naming it out loud wasn't really going to change anything. We both just had to have this silent pact between us that we were going to go and give it our all, and we did.
Yeah. And I remember the last day of the holidays, we said, okay, we sat down on the beach with the kids, and Abby was very young at the time, so we're doing it.
Yeah. Went back to Ireland, put the house up for sale. The house sold within a few weeks.
We don't do anything half-hearted, so we went back probably around the 15th of July, we put the house up for sale, and we had to be back here by the 10th of September for Oliver starting school at 4. Had to be, so it was manic, it was exciting, and it was a massive challenge.
Sold our house, came over, we searched for accommodation, rented accommodation first, and then the job hunt for me began. And I was very determined that I was going to find a career the same, of equal level as to what I had in Ireland, because at that point I really saw myself as the breadwinner in the family, and we knew our baseline number that we needed as a family to survive each month. So my priority was to get a contracted permanent job in Spain with an international company where I could grow in my career. We would be in the social security system, contributing, and have a real job. And everybody told me at the time, that's not possible. You'll end up working in a bar. Not that there's anything wrong with that. There isn't. You won't be able to find the career that you want, but I was determined. And luck was on our side at the time. Malaga was starting to gain traction as a low-cost labour solution for international market. Lots of companies were nearshoring here. Malaga was growing as a tech hub, and I found those companies that had international footprints but were based in Malaga, and I attacked that job hunt like a woman possessed. And I ended up getting offered 3 really good jobs.
You did.
Actually started one, then got offered the one I really wanted. So finished that one and then started the other one. And yeah, I was very lucky. I stayed with that company for 8.5 years,
You did.
nearly 9 years, 8.5 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I built an international career that allowed me to travel all over Northern Europe and get to C-level director, which was very exciting, which supported us as a family to get on the property ladder, make sensible property investments, and build a serious life over here. So my point is, I'm not showing off about the career I was able to build. I'm here to tell you that don't listen to everyone. If you know in your gut that something's possible, do the research, attack this like a project, like a serious project. And that's what we did. This was a serious project for us where there was no plan B. There was no 1 foot in, 1 foot out. We were 2 feet in. And I suppose I'm the type of person by nature, if you know me at all, if you tell me that I'm going to fail at something, I will sell my soul to prove you wrong. And that is just not going to happen. For me to go back to you and say you were right and I was wrong, I'm a bit stubborn by nature, which was really what drove me. It was the fire in my belly.
And I would say the opportunities then were way less than where they are now.
Oh my God, massively. It was 2016.
People are working from home now, you know, with different companies all over the world. That was unheard of.
No, and people always say to me, "But did you have Spanish?" No, I didn't.
No.
But I had a strong belief and I believed in myself, I believed in my skill set, and I believed in what I could offer, and I put myself out there. It was bloody scary. And we made a decision at that point then that you started working with another real estate firm. Real estate was where you wanted to be. But unfortunately, we were moving house, settling kids in school. We took on a little bit too much. And this is advice we would give people. You then took a step back for 3 months.
Yes.
Got the kids settled and then went back into real estate.
Yeah, I think they were just so both desperate to, you know,
Succeed.
get employment.
Yeah.
That when we actually got employment, I was working in Marbella and you were working there, and I went, oh no, let's put the brakes on here. So that's all part of teamwork, and it's all part of the two of yous can't have the big career in the one place because there's so many different things that has to be tidied up in the background for one person to have that big career because they have to put certain energy into it. The other person can't do the same.
Yes.
Otherwise, something has to give.
Something will give, yeah. And I'm really grateful to you for affording that opportunity and taking that lead role with the kids for those few months, getting them settled in school and allowing me the opportunity to really focus on the career, because as a family, that's what we needed. So our goal at the start was Sandra's going to be the breadwinner. Warner's going to focus on building his real estate experience back up in Spain and then going out on your own and building your own business.
Yeah, and I was just so happy for you because I know your career's everything to you, and for you to get a job with that company and just flourish, it was amazing.
Yeah, but good teamwork.
Teamwork.
Makes the dream work. So there was lots of fears that nobody saw. And there's lots of fears we probably underestimate and still don't talk about to today, but we were scared shitless. And people said, oh, they're making a big mistake. Family members fell out with us. Family members talked about us behind our back. People thought we were mad, but I don't think they'll say that today. And it was the right decision for us, and we knew what was right for us. So take some solace from that if people are saying to you the same, oh, you have a great life here, and it's always going to be hard when the kids are small. Things will get easier. Maybe you want it to be better now. We're not on this planet for forever. We're here for a short time, not a long time. So you need to do what's best for you and go with what's right for you, your family, your personal situation.
And it's good to know the platform, it's not about us, it was the platform that gave our children to be bilingual. Abigail was more Spanish. So the platform that we gave them was the platform that they will actually really cherish as they grow old. And you can see it in them. Both go to football camps, Oliver was in golf camp, they have a great lifestyle, good friends. So it was...
They're very open-minded, I think, because they've grown up in a multicultural environment. And I think that's quite cool. And our hope is I'll stand to them as they grow in the future. But their values are very Spanish. They're very focused on family, friendships, which is lovely, which is really nice to see. Everyone always asks us, though, how did you make money? How did you survive? That's the question. And we had a plan, recapping that I became the breadwinner at the start. Warner took the family role for 3 months. I got us settled. He got the kids settled. Then he went back and built his real estate career and spent a year working with another company. And then in 2017 launched Costa Properties. So you do need to ensure that you have a plan of attack for this, because if you don't, your savings will dwindle very fast. So I think you need to know as a family, what's your number, what's your break-even point financially, and make sure that's coming in each month in the same way that you would budget your household in every other country.
Yeah, I totally agree. We've seen a lot of people move over here thinking, whoa, we're moving to Spain and everything else. Yeah, it's cheap. And 6 months, a year, their tails between the legs.
It's not cheap if you're living a millionaire's lifestyle.
Yeah,
and you're on a holiday every
exactly.
day of the week.
Yeah.
You know, it is cheap.
You have
comparably.
you have to be focused,
Yeah.
and you have to be strict, and you have to really integrate in the Spanish way of life in order to really be successful.
You built Costa Properties initially solo in 2017. You worked hard, built up a really good reputation in the area. The business went from strength to strength. The kids were in primary school. They were in Spanish school. I worked in an international business, traveling around Northern Europe. And we kept that going then until 2023, when I decided, enough. I want to be a mum.
No, I think at that time now, that was 7 years of fully 150%. So something had to give. And you always said to me, by the time the kids get to a certain age, I have to take a back seat.
I always said to you, by the time my son hit 13, I wanted to be more available to my family.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you done is then you took your foot off the pedal. I had more time to concentrate on Costa Properties with your input, which was great. And then you went and found yourself.
I did. I was very...
you went and kind of, how I can explain it is you needed a year to kind of come down, decompress.
Well, I was very lucky that the company that I was working for kept me on as a consultant for nearly a year.
Yeah.
And that allowed me to do that like 25 hours a week part-time. So I was able to then study a little bit more and upskill, because I did feel that when I'd left the corporate world that I'd become a bit of a dinosaur, that when you're working in corporate, you're very spoiled. There's so many specialties. So like I worked in HR. So even though I was in charge of the HR department, there was somebody else for marketing, there was somebody else for finance. And I felt that I didn't really understand the way the online world was working. So I went in and upskilled and studied and said to Warner, I think you're missing an opportunity in terms of reaching people. Hey ho, the podcast was born, the online resources. And
everything was boom. I said to you, look, you've been building other people's companies for the last 7 years. Why don't you do it for us? And here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
23 years later, the business is booming. We have the podcast, we have the audience. It's just been a whirlwind, but it still gives you the time for the kids. It gives me time to do what I like. And when we have a brilliant balanced lifestyle now.
Yeah. We didn't speak Spanish at the start. Everyone always asks us this. There's an assumption that we did. Warner had a little bit, probably street Spanish. I had nothing.
Spanglish.
Yeah, and because I was working in an international company, even though I had a lot of Spanish colleagues, we were obliged to speak English as the business language. So it took me a lot longer to catch up. And then I got in my own head and really started to lose confidence with it, because I thought, and I see this with women, this does not happen with men, no offense. Men have a lot more confidence naturally and they just don't really care. But women, we tend to latch onto this perfectionism and get in our head. And I fell into that trap absolutely with the language. It took me a good few years to let go. I would dread the kids' birthday parties. I would dread the school meetings. I would be fine until maybe sentence 10 or question 10. And then I was afraid, oh, please don't ask me anymore because I can't answer you in a good quality. So that held me back. So
And look, I think that was your own head.
it was, that's what
because
I'm trying to say.
They didn't
think it was shite.
expect it. It was just...
And then they would think I was being a bit standoffish and snobby because I was in my head. So yeah, piece of advice there, don't follow my lead on that. Just
No.
get over, do your classes, have the apps on your phone, get involved. That's what you really need to do.
Yeah, and the government encourages foreign people to come and learn Spanish. So there's always free courses there, or you can go,
Yeah,
you know,
private tutors.
There's so many different ways, but the courses are great because you meet like-minded people that's coming over here.
That's it.
And it's building your community.
Yeah. But look, honestly, full disclosure here, my kids still correct my Spanish and translate for me on a regular basis because I just don't have the level of fluency that they have. I'm fine, I can manage, I integrate, I get by, but I just don't have it.
No, and we're quite lucky that Costa del Sol is bilingual. You can get by English with a little bit of Spanish, but it's totally up to yourself and your attitude.
Yeah, how much
you
want
to integrate. Because when we went there, we rented somewhere in the Spanish
yeah,
area.
we did. That helped a lot. Our landlord was Spanish.
Yeah.
We really had to, all our neighbours were Spanish. That's always a good idea. Try to, some parts of your day, make sure that you're integrating a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one thing that really kept me awake at night at the start was, it wasn't the money and the language and the jobs, because I knew that was in our control. We could manage that. It was the kids, particularly Oliver.
Yeah.
He was 4 when we moved over. He was the only non-Spanish speaking child in his class with a non-English speaking teacher. The teacher had no English at all. And she was a lovely, warm woman. And she's now retired. And she said to us at the start, 1 year, and he will be fluent. And he was 100%.
Yeah.
And we were so lucky that when Oliver finished with this teacher, he had her for 2 years, and Abigail had her for 3 years. So she was in our life for 5 years, and that was lovely.
Yeah.
Her name was Rosario now. As I say, she's since retired, but lovely. And she was 100% correct. At the start for him, when I think back, we really threw him in at the deep end. We moved him to a new country. We threw him into Spanish primary school. He hadn't been to primary school before. He'd been to nursery in Ireland. And he started to sneak little Lego pieces in his pockets because I think he was trying to make common ground for the kids to like him and speak to him.
Yeah.
But he did really well. And what I will say about Oliver is when you meet him as a child, everybody comments on his social skills and his ability to interact. And I really think it's down to that experience. He's so curious about people. He doesn't really have a best friend. He's a little bit of a social butterfly with loads of different groups of friends. And I really put it down to that situation. Didn't faze him. And my point with this is that kept me awake at night. But he has benefited from it. So often as parents, we need to allow them their own autonomy and realize they're more resilient than we ever give them credit for.
And it's good to note that if you are thinking about moving to Spain and you have young children, the primary Spanish education is excellent.
Yeah.
So rather than putting them into international school, you should think about really putting them into the Spanish Primera to learn the language.
Yeah, it depends on the age of the child, and it depends on your child. And as a parent, you know what's right for your child, and it also depends on your long-term plans.
Mm-hmm.
Warner's right. If you can, and it is the right option for you, do it, because your child will integrate so much quicker, and you as a family in turn will integrate so much quicker because you'll be meeting local people that will invite you to speak Spanish. So that's a good recommendation if you can.
Yeah.
Abigail, moved here 10 months old, dreams in Spanish, sings in Spanish, is very integrated, massively.
Yeah, and she went to one of the best nurseries. I think I cried when I left.
I know.
Pepper, every time. When you went to collect her, she had her hair done, she had the little uniform on. Oh, it was beautiful.
So Warner, reflecting back on the last 10 years, knowing what you know now, would you do anything differently?
No, I wouldn't. I think we picked the right place in Benalmadena. We got the right schools. We rented in the Spanish area to integrate, to see where we actually wanted to stay. And from there, then we started to really integrate and understand the Spanish way of life, and from there grew the real estate. So everything there was a challenge, but it was a good challenge
Yeah.
because you learned.
Life isn't always easy, and people might be watching at home going, oh, it looks easy. It wasn't. No matter where you live or where you decide to base your life,
Yeah.
challenges occur. COVID happened in the middle of our 10 years in Spain. Our business had to adapt as a result of that. My work had to adapt as a result of that. Our kids. Challenges will occur.
Of course.
But you get to choose your hard. And for us, the hard here was easier than the hard where we were coming from.
The outdoor lifestyle, 300 odd days sun a year, at least. If you were finding things hard, you just walk down to the beach and have the kids run around, and then you say, this is why we came here. Or the
and
park.
it's down to your mindset as well. Some people say, oh, the bureaucracy piece is hard. It's not. It's just different to what you're used to. And there's plenty of people over here that will help you with that now.
We never had
we
that.
didn't have those services at the time, because Spain in 2016 is very different to Spain in 2026. Again, you get to choose your hard. You don't need to go at things alone. There's plenty of support out there for you. There's online communities. There's our community. There's our podcasts. There's so many resources,
Of course,
where you can upskill yourself now. YouTube is full of videos from people like ourselves, like-minded people like you that have made a trip or are planning on making a trip. So yeah, it's hard, but choose your heart. That's my that's my summary on that piece.
That's right.
So 10 years, what do you love most about life?
Outdoor lifestyle, working with you every day, my partner in crime. Seeing the kids flourish.
Yeah.
Speaking different languages, having different friends, nationalities, going to football camp, going to golf camp.
Yeah.
There's so many different things that I wake up in the morning, see the sea. There's so many things that I love about Spain. And
yeah, we're very lucky.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
I feel very privileged to live here.
Yes.
Amazing. So if you're sitting at home, overwhelmed, don't know where to start, dreaming, we hope that our story, our message, our journey has inspired you a little bit to even take the first step and start doing your research. Even if the Costa del Sol is not for you in 2026, if it's for you in the future, it's never too early to start doing your research. Our podcast, our YouTube channel is packed with over 110 episodes of information for you to support you from our lived experience. So it's coming up to the summer. When you're going on your summer holidays, pop us in your ear, have a listen, and go back through the back episodes. You'll learn a few things here and there that will help you to understand what's the right next step for you. Don't think twice.
That's it.
Remember, like and subscribe. We hope you've enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.